they say all men are created equal. Shot! Master! I pull out the Glock! Full of suffering, succotash, son!
One of your nuts is hanging out of your shorts.
Real glass!
You have a father, but your father's dead.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Too Sweet podcast with Lucy and Estelle. And guys, it's All In week. All In is in like 3 days. We're going to London tomorrow. I am so excited. I can't believe that it's like now. Still not sunk in, I don't think. But this episode we're going to review Dynamite, which was in Cardiff last night. And we're going to do our predictions for Wembley. So, Estelle, what did you think of the show this week?
Yeah, it was pretty good go home show. The first half was like it wasn't my favorite, but then it really picked up, I think, on the second half for sure. Like that second hour was just phenomenal, and it was so great to have it in Cardiff. UK crowd absolutely delivered. Be interesting to see Collision as well, because obviously they filmed that straight after Dynamite. But yeah, I wasn't sure about you, but the stream that I had actually showed like the dark match and stuff. So I don't know whether you caught that, whether you just got the TV cut. Yeah, I don't know how I ended up on like a stream, like I say, with it was weird. It was showing like the sound check with like the commentators and stuff, because essentially they did Serpentico versus Michael Oku as the dark match, and also recorded that, and yeah, that was pretty good, pretty interesting. Nice. I think definitely we'll be seeing Michael Oku at All In, potentially in Zero or the Gauntlet match. I'd be very surprised if he wasn't there.
Yeah, he faced MJF, didn't he, last week? So they're pretty hot on him now at the moment, which is great to see. He's a great talent. Yeah,
Rev Pro, that show's happening All In weekend, so I'm sure that'll be absolutely amazing. He did beat Serpentico, obviously, via submission, but it was really, really great. I'd recommend seeking it out if anyone has like spare time before like All In festivities kick off, because it was solid. Yeah, Tony Khan came out with mental, like crazy pupils, just screaming, being like, "We're here! Like, this is Cardiff, this is Dynamite, let's go!" So that was like hilarious. And then it went into the show, so it was just like half an hour of just like I don't know, but yeah, very, very interesting to see. And it was nice as well because like, obviously the dark match, like the commentators were on yet, so it was just like being there yourself.
Yeah, vibes.
Yeah. Getting me ready for Sunday. Yeah, so jumping into the show now, we started off with the TBS signing, Tony Schiavone, an ally of Britt Baker, in the ring, doing the honours of introducing him. Yeah, I thought this was a pretty tight segment. It just wrapped up the whole story. And one thing that I really want to give credit to is that they didn't go down the avenue that we were so scared of, that Camille was going to like override the whole thing, and they were just going to like push her so hard to the point where it outshines the core story, which is it's such a great story. It doesn't need like much more polishing. Like all they have to do is just keep reiterating it, which is what they did in the segment. So yeah, I'm really impressed that like they didn't choose to go down that avenue.
Yeah, me too. This was a good segment, and like you say, she was just kind of stood there next to Mercedes as like this menacing figure, but she didn't, she's not been used as like that. So I don't know, like sort of get out of jail free card. Like we can put some heat on her. She can do everything for Mercedes. Yeah, it wasn't like that. This was, yeah, like you said, this was a good segment. They reiterated the story, which is, we've been saying it for ages. It's really good. It tells itself. I thought Britt in particular like really stood out in this one. She had some great lines. For example, "You were one of four, I've always been one of one," referring to the four horsewomen in the women's revolution. That was cold. And then
mic drop.
Yeah. And then that wasn't even like the last of it. Like she just kept going, like dishing out these, yeah, like I said, mic drop moments. I think when she was saying how Mercedes, you care more about being the highest paid woman than about your legacy that inspired people like me. I was like, whoa. And like credit to Mercedes, like she sold that so well. She looked really pissed off and upset. Like her facial expressions, I was like, damn, like it felt really personal. So yeah, I found this really entertaining.
Yeah, and everything that, well, to be fair, like the both of them are saying both narratives exist in one storyline, and both sides of the story are very, very true,
Yeah.
and you can't really argue against it. As well, like Mercedes saying Brit's the past and Mercedes is the future. It's such an interesting like warp because technically, like Mercedes was the past. She built up the legacy, but in terms of AEW, Mercedes is, well, she sees herself as the future. Yeah, the one of one, not the one of four line went absolutely hard, and the highest paid member of the roster, and it's just so true. It's just so fundamental to their characters, and not just their characters, but them as people, like what they
Mm.
prioritize. Mercedes did, like she shopped around, she went for the highest paying deal. Good on her, good on her. But like for Britt Baker, like I'll just always have the utmost respect for personally, like being there since day one and holding it down when how many other people were there. Not to pay dust on the names of like Riho, Shida, Nyla Rose, of course. Um, but she certainly deserves her flowers. So yeah, just probably my one of my most anticipated matches going towards All In because I feel like everything they're saying is true. And so I feel like the outcome of the match has so much weight because it's like what matters to Tony Khan? What matters to AEW? Is it about the money and the face of the company and going with the trend that is Mercedes Moné? Or do you book for Britt Baker? Is your booking decision, I'm going down with the brand of AEW and the idea of homegrown talent and
Yeah.
legacy? Because I think outside of wrestling and kayfabe, I think it says a lot about what they want to prioritize going forward. And I just feel like
Yeah.
it's going to be a hugely consequential match.
Yeah, so true. It's gonna be a statement, like for them, what's the word I'm looking for? Intentions going forward. Um, so yeah, you're totally right. Yeah, I'm really, really, really looking forward to it. I think it'll be a great match and intrigued to see where the direction they're gonna head with it. Um, so yeah, and this segment did all it needed to do to boost that hype for it. I think the brawl at the end was a bit clumsy but hilarious. Not
Yeah,
in a
the
bad way.
chair. The chair not
Yeah,
being able to be broken with two people on said chair and a crossbody. That was,
it didn't
but
even
yeah,
tip over.
no, it kind of came to head. Britt just kind of goes straight for Camille with the mic, and then yeah, the crossbody on the chair, and then interestingly, she's the one standing tall, holding the title,
Yeah,
so she would be a new champion. Uh, Obviously with Mercedes holding it, so is like that what we're gonna see at Wembley. Again, Jamie Hayter's going to come into play. She's coming back at Wembley. We still haven't seen her, so you can't count her out either. I wonder whether like Camille goes to like interfere and maybe like Britt Baker like has Jamie Hayter save the day,
yeah.
or something like that.
I
But
imagine something like that.
yeah, for sure. But like we say, huge stakes with that match. Then we got the Jericho TV time portion of Dynamite. He cut promo, said Cardiff, England, obviously lots of heat. And he was going against Tommy Billington. Yeah, the Dynamite Kid's nephew.
Hmm.
Um, which he's a great wrestler, he can certainly it I struggle with wrestlers like this because like it's nice like being a legacy wrestler and being um like a multiple generational wrestler and paying tribute to someone like the Dynamite Kid and the impact that he had, and seeing those spots and seeing him come out in the attire and the way he carries himself and the moveset. But at the same time, I'm just like, what more are you than like a tribute act?
Yeah, well,
Like how much
it-
how much more momentum is that going to carry you forward in the future? Because he's a good wrestler, so it's just like,
yeah, it was hard because I think they mentioned he's been on Collision.
yeah, he's been on
Um,
Collision.
yeah, so, but then it, like we've talked about quite a lot of length on this podcast, that doesn't really carry over into Dynamite, so it's hard to get into this match. Really, I think they, put him on the card, assuming everyone's gonna love him because we're in the UK and
Yeah.
he's the Dynamite Kid and blah blah blah. But yeah, it unfortunately for me this did fall a bit flat. And I totally get where you're coming from. It's like, okay, you've got this legacy. What are you gonna do with it? Is that gonna be it? Is that gonna be your identity? Because that's not gonna be enough in the long run. Um,
Yeah.
if we're being brutally honest. But it wasn't like a bad match or out like that. It was just not exciting.
Do you think? I quite enjoyed the match, like the actual match. I don't. I mean, I just have very low stakes for a Jericho match, I
Right.
think.
Yeah, fair.
So, I think he got the best out of Jericho that he could.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and I mean, like in terms of like using the Dynamite Kid gimmick, like I get it for like getting your foot in the door. It's just
Yeah.
like in the long term, um, like you say, he was put on that card. Obviously, it's like a nostalgia pop for the UK crowd and their like emotional ties to like Dynamite Kid and stuff. But is that like enough like going forward in the long run? I don't know, but it was quite I felt like quite a lengthy match. Could probably been cut a bit shorter because considering that, like you said, this is someone who, yeah, is interesting to watch wrestle, but like, do we care that much? And how much consequence is Tommy Billington going to have on Sunday? And you're
Yeah,
on a go
right.
home show. So like,
Yeah.
should this run as long as it did? I think it ran through one picture-in-picture at least.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's kind of where I'm getting at, is like it's not a bad match, but it did like, yeah, you enjoy watching it, but did it need to go on that long when there's no consequences to it and you're watching it and you know that there's no consequences really. I will say it felt very British, like the style they were wrestling. There was some, especially right at the beginning. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was really nice. But yeah, it was pretty lengthy.
Yeah. Billington obviously lost. He was caught by the code breaker off the top rope.
That was pretty
which
cool.
which was a nice finish. That's what I mean. I feel like there was like a bit of innovation from Jericho. Like he had to sort of step up to match this kid and make him. And I do want to give Jericho some flowers because I think one thing Jericho is quite good at is making someone new or someone fresh on the block shine. Like I think he's
Yeah.
pretty good at that.
Yeah.
It's the fact that he does that and then there's no consequence to the star that he's then like built up that kind of leaves it short. But yeah, a fine match, but probably like a Collision type thing, not really like a go home type of vibe. Jericho then cut a promo, called out Hook. Hook came out. Big Bill attacked. The Learning Tree stable stood tall, and that was that. But I think one thing that's very telling is I was like, FTW title, it should be on 0 Hour. But considering that this got a large chunk of fucking Dynamite TV time, I think that tells me all I need to know that it's going to be on the main card.
Oh yeah, yeah, no doubt, no doubt. This'll be bloody the before the main event.
Oh, that's fine. That's the toilet break one. So
Second to
we
last,
can live
yeah.
with that. Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah, this next match made me laugh as well. So I mean, like this first half, man, it was
A bit rough.
so this match made me laugh first of all because it had a 60-minute time limit. It's Toni Storm versus Saraya. Like at no point did I ever think this is going to be a 60-minute 5-star
Yeah, classic.
banger. Yeah, Saraya, Harley Cameron have had a bit of feature. Britt Baker took on Harley Cameron at the weekend. I think the standout for this, unfortunately, was that really awkward sequence that Toni Storm attempted that was kind of very, very slow. I don't know if you can put the blame on Toni for that, or whether that's like Saraya. I've always said like Saraya is great. I'm not here to shit on her, but like her legacy and what she's done, I think she definitely has a place on the women's roster. But you need to be careful with using her because she's very easily exposed, and she wrestles a very dated. She wrestles a very dated style. So
That's fair point.
it were painful that like clip. Yeah, it just made me cringe.
Yeah, not. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, not nice to see, but we can laugh.
We can laugh, yeah. And obviously they put Saraya out there because she's British in it, so gotta put her in Wales, I guess.
Got to run it back from last year.
Yep. So and then the ending was like Toni Storm kissing them using the lip lock. First to Harley Cameron, who was trying to cause interference. Then to Saraya with a Storm Zero. Mariah then attacks Toni Storm and like kind of picks up the shoe to like attack her, but then kind of cradled her sort of thing, and then was lying on the floor. And then like Toni Storm's music was played, and then they were like, fuck, and played Mariah May.
Yeah.
It just it hasn't damaged it, okay? Like it hasn't damaged this story. The story's still great, and from what I've seen online, people's most anticipated match, the match that people are most hyped for, is this match. So I think it's going to get a raucous reception at Wembley. But like, this was bad for the level of this angle and how hot it's been. Like, this just didn't work.
Well,
On
yeah,
paper, it should have worked, but it didn't. It didn't deliver.
Well, it's like, why are they not trying to kill each other? They hate each other so much. Surely they should be exploding at each other in the ring sort of situation. It just wasn't like that.
Yeah, I thought this week we were going to get like a one-on-one, like maybe like the TBS contract sign. I appreciate, especially for women, like you don't want to have both women's title segments be a contract signing, but I felt like that's where you would have, because we've seen the beat down several times now, and then like I say, on paper it makes sense. Saraya, get Saraya out. She's British. She'll get a pop. Run it back from last year, and then Mariah will come out and intercept her. But I think we've seen it many times, and this was like an opportunity to sort of have, like you said, like that emotional sort of promo and really build upon the stakes as to why this is such a big match for both women. I feel like we've seen why it's a big match for Mariah. When she first turned, she had that big fucking amazing promo, but I feel like we never got that out of Toni, and so
yeah, that is so true. That is so true. Would have loved to hear more from Toni. What did they do last week? I can't quite remember, but I feel like maybe a video package would have helped.
Yeah, it was, because we were saying video package last week, so we were saying like, oh, next week we're so excited because this week we're going to see him like come face to face, and obviously that wasn't the case. I don't know whether like maybe you could have done this. I mean, obviously I get the booking and stuff, maybe getting Mina Shirakawa over, like it's not realistic, but at least that's more relevant to the story. Maybe if you had like Mina versus Mariah or something like that, and then the interception is more like, if that's how you want to go, you want to have like a beat down angle at the end of it, maybe do it like that. But like I said, we're not shitting on it, like that. We're still very, very hyped, and I think when all is said and done at Wembley, like, no one's going to be like, oh, do you remember the go home show of Dynamite when there was this shit match? Like,
exactly. That's it. It's like you can take it both ways, like, oh, there was something on Dynamite, it had no consequence. Oh, that was shit. But also you can look at it like, well, it's actually not got any consequence, and that's a good thing. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So moving on with the conglomeration interview with Renee, also with Ishii and Willow, and they just set up a collision match basically. Then we had one of, I think, the most standout segments of the show, definitely on social media, the most talked about. This was the Ospreay MJF face-to-face 15-minute promo, or however long it lasted, this segment. My God, from the moment Ospreay's music hit, the reception was just
Yeah.
thunderous. I mean, he's popular everywhere. Like in America, gets such a popular, like the loudest response of the night, I'd argue, every time. But like you forget just how over he is in the UK. Like just how beloved he is.
Yeah, 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 it was so loud. I mean, I didn't expect anything less, but even so, it was like, whoa. Like you couldn't, there was points where like I couldn't really hear like commentary and stuff. It was so loud.
Yeah, what did you think of the banging on the guardrail? Because some people really didn't like that.
Oh, that didn't bother me. That didn't bother me. That's like, I remember in Ring of Honor, like people used to do that. It's like, make some more noise, isn't it? I don't know.
Yeah.
What did you think?
Yeah, it didn't bother me either, but I just saw it got a lot of heat online.
Yeah, I
People
wonder
like, oh, it
why.
hijacked the show and it overtook the segments and stuff. But I thought it
That's,
was a nice little rowdy touch and kind of
yeah,
continued the energy personally and the chaos.
yeah, same. People find anything they can to complain about, don't they?
I'd rather have that than a silent crowd. Like
Yeah,
put
for
it that
sure.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ospreay comes out and he's playing up to the crowd. He's giving a Gavin and Stacey reference. He's giving a Silly Bang
Yeah, I
reference.
didn't ever
Um,
think I'd hear a Tillit Bang reference on Dynamite.
yeah, hilarious. He said MJF was better on the top. Um, MJF saying that he was better when he was on top than Ospreay, which is interesting because, like, is Ospreay on top? Like, he's not world champion, but he is on top, and that's kind of like a little unfortunate dynamic about it. Like, it's not unfortunate. It's just a bit awkward, isn't it? When like Ospreay should be the world champion, but because
Mm.
Swerve's got like his own feuds, he's not even champion right now. But like obviously he was international champion before. But I don't know. It's just interesting to me that like he's referred to as like being the top guy, and MJF was the top guy before, but neither of them are fighting for the top title.
Yeah, I guess that kind of shows. I mean, it came up later on in the segment, like MJF jealousy. He
Yeah.
he blames Ospreay for the reason that he's not the top guy anymore, and that kind of, I don't know. I guess that just shows his insecurities and stuff. He's just finding someone to blame, and it's Ospreay he's the fresh new person. But like outside of kayfabe, you're right. It is like it's so interesting as well because I think Ospreay is like the one in the spotlight. Um, like you said before, he gets like the loudest reception, but he's like you just said, he's not actually the top guy. They're not in the top match, but I think to a lot of people, like this is the match that they're most looking forward to because of Ospreay. So I think MJF is doing a great job of pushing that pushing that forward of like, Ospreay really is the top guy.
Yeah, and it was great to see like the American hero gimmick in the UK,
Yeah.
obviously, and just how much even more cornier it really
Mm,
landed, as we knew it would, um, being in Wales.
that suit
But
though.
that suit, he said that he had to come back early from his injury, essentially. Um, kind of it was never mentioned, but I feel like the ratings were heavily alluded
Implied.
to. And I'm glad that it wasn't mentioned because I think mentioning stuff like that only buries the product.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
so I'm glad that that wasn't, but it's a fair point. And again, this was very much like Mercedes and Britt Baker in that like both of them have great points and both of them have different angles that they're coming from. And the match is a statement, not just in kayfabe, but like in terms of like the product and the direction that Tony Khan wants to sort of take it forward into. And I feel like ever since the Dynamite 2.0, like the rebranding and the new theme and like when he signed all these talents, Okada, Ospreay, Mercedes, it was like trying to go into this new era. So I'm very interested whether I already said like Alan, are we fully submitting and conforming to that new era, or do we want to kind of keep what made Dynamite, what made AEW, like where is the AEW identity going forward? Um because Ospreay in response to this is saying that, again, such valid criticism that, we loved the sports entertainment era towards the end of last year. But that the joke went too far, and it kind of got to a point where it went away from what AEW was originally meant to be, to like the Max verse. Um and the line of at Wembley, it was just two guys jerking each other off, but this year it's going to be a fight. And like it's so interesting, that sort of like ethos. And again, I don't think, like, obviously Ospreay really has real life heat with Max, and Mercedes has real life heat with Britt Baker, but I do think that there's something there, and there's fundamental differences in real life in the way that they view wrestling, and that there is clashes,
There
and
is
that
elements of
every
both.
word that these men are saying and these women are saying, they fucking believe they
Yes.
fucking believe, and that's what makes it so, it just really gives it that,
Yes, totally agree. And it sort of reminds me of like, and I'm sorry to bring up WWE, but it just reminds me of CM Punk coming back to WWE, and he went into a feud with people like Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre, and you do sort of feel like some of their gripes that they say on promos to CM Punk does sort of feel like they mean it, but they can still work together and put on an amazing match. But like that makes it all the promos more intense when you can sense that they do actually believe what they're saying, and they're not just reading the script. There's something there, whether it's just a little element of truth, or whether it's like they fully mean it and there's full heat, like that. That makes it all the more exciting to watch as a fan. It makes it more
yeah.
immersive.
Yeah, there's full conviction in what they're saying. I'm not saying that they have heat for the
Yeah,
people in front of them. It's more so like they have heat for what goes against their beliefs,
yeah,
sort of, thing. And like their opponent is just like a representation of that. And they're just great, great foils for each other. Again, Ospreay goes on to say that Tony Khan, when he was signing him, and the amount of people he had signed in the back, that he felt he had to sign Ospreay for the deal that he did. He said, I need you to put on a good match because MJF can't do it. Um, which obviously that line is like, MJF has consistently had like the best match of like the pay-per-views consecutively. So that one like doesn't hit, I think, as
doesn't
hard.
ring
Like that is a bit, yeah, it doesn't ring as true, does it? But that line of the entertainment is fun, but they should cater to the fans. They should cater to the wrestling. And it's such a dilemma, and it's been such a dilemma with AEW in general, like the identity. And one minute we want to be sports entertainment, then we want to be like just pure wrestling, and we want to have like a sports presentation. Um, but this fundamental idea that the core audience of AEW wants that sports-based presentation, which I just find really interesting. It's almost like trying to protect like the prestige of AEW, but I don't know, because I think, like, just taking a step back outside of you to like our own opinions, like I think it needs both. It needs both of these types of characters, both of these types of storylines, and without it, where's the foil? Um, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you remember back to Wembley last year, and Osprey might say it's just two dudes jerking each other off, but like everyone in Wembley Stadium was eating it up. We loved it, and it was great. So it just goes to show that it does have a place like this entertainment sort of side of it. It absolutely does, and people do still enjoy it.
Yeah, and I think like, I think the way that they're trying to build it is like, because Osprey is obviously the face and Max is the heat. It's kind of like burying that entertainment style, but
Yeah.
like it was great. Like it's just unfortunate, like the Devil storyline and the way things kind of came into fruition, and also that time Max, similarly to Britt Baker, was like the one carrying the division, and for him the brand, he didn't really have um like a competitor to go up against that was of his sort of caliber. Like, yeah, they quickly built up Jay White and then like Samoa Joe, but at the time, like, he was just kind of on his own, like on his own sort of island. But yeah, Max then goes on to say he only cares about winning. And he had a great way of making a spot monkey dig. So that was great. And I really love the line of Friedman is facts, Ospreay is the feeling. Facts don't care about feelings. But what matters more? Oh my God, it's so interesting. Like, what does matter more? Like, is it Max who's the ratings draw? And, he's not going to give you what you want, sports entertainment, but he's going to give you what you fucking need. Or is it Ospreay, the indie darling, the guy who's wrestled across the world, the guy who can emit like emotions, 7-star matches, 8-star matches, like is it that? Like what? And there isn't a right or a wrong answer, but like these two contesting philosophies, it's so interesting, and it's something that like I hadn't. There's so much going on this storyline. We've got Tiger Drive, we've got Daniel Garcia, we've got a fucking dream match anyway. They've already had a
Yeah.
60-minute bloody banger. And then on top of that, we've got like this contention of philosophies. Like my mind is just
Yeah.
blown.
Yeah, it's like the psychology of it, isn't it? Well, I mean, what was our catchphrase on this podcast like not that long ago was think less,
Oh
feel
my
more.
God.
So are
Shit.
we
Yeah,
gonna
it's
are we
it's
gonna stick
all
by that?
it's all coming to a head. Yeah, and then like I say, he did make a reference to pulling the trigger on the 91 driver.
Yeah.
And Ospreay had a great line. History can be rewritten, but how you make the people feel doesn't. Reference Nick Wayne, how Nick Wayne was inspired by Ospreay in the Super Juniors. And then we've got to talk about this line that you made reference to right at the start. This line it cuts through the whole thing, and it just, oh my gosh. They loved me until you showed up and ruined it. My mouth was just like agape because like
Yeah.
the way it's one line, one tiny fucking line. The way that line just blows nothing matters after. Obviously, it does matter, but nothing matters because that just exposed, like you said, the insecurity and the real cutting reason why Max has had to go heel, why he's kind of been backed into a corner and gone back to these old ways, is because Ospreay's shown up and overtaken him. Oh, just
Yeah,
amazing.
the way he delivered it was beautiful. It was like he this whole time he'd been this villain, like typical heel MJF. It's very showy. He's putting on this persona, but then what an amazing performer he is, like that he could deliver this one line in such a way that you're like, oh shit, it's like you're pulling back the curtain. It's like, oh, I remember when he was a good guy. And then I can see the vulnerability of him and I feel for him and I can see his flaws. And instead of just him putting on this persona, it's like, nah, there's a reason. There's a deep reason. It's his head, and it was beautiful. It was really beautiful, and that for me, like you said, just that it cut through the whole thing, and like nothing else after that really mattered because it was just like that's the reason. That's the driver. He's jealous, and he just pits it on Ospreay. And like MJF is just, I mean, he needs a career in acting. He's really good.
Yeah, and then his delivery after where he was like, I shouldn't have said that. Like
Yeah,
the delivery after, there's a selling of
the
it.
reaction
It's
to himself.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Just and then we went back into the cheap heat. The next kid your wife has won't be yours or fiance, whatever the hell she is, won't be yours either. Uh, Obviously that hits the trigger point of, as we know, Ospreay loves his family and his kid. Uh, and then there's £100,000 fine if he hits MGF. He says fuck it, hits him. Max uses the diamond ring, cuts him open, does the brain buster, does a mocking free count, goes for the Tiger Driver, but security and Christopher Daniels pull him off, and that's how it concludes. Just from start to finish, beat down at the end, like the brawl sort of sequence, I think worked perfectly. Reference to Tiger Driver, but not actually delivering it. Just the whole thing,
I'm really glad he didn't actually
phenomenal.
deliver it as well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it would. Because for a second I was like, oh my God, he's gonna do it. But I'm glad they've held off because that how hard is that going to bang when Ospreay hits it on Sunday? It's going to hit different.
Yeah, and what are the beats that are gonna get him to that point? And you've got to think this is going to be this match needs a lot of time because there's so much to
Yes, it
unpack,
does.
and that's like I don't know whether they're going to do interferences or not. Like I don't even necessarily think that they need to like bring Daniel Garcia out or anything like that. Like no frills. Like even if they kind of just do what they did last time with the 60-minute match, and I feel so like hypocritical because I was like they can't just do that again. That's boring. I've already seen it, but now I'm like no, like I need to see it again. I need to see all the emotion, the
Run it
jealousy of
back.
Max, the undoing. Fucking run it back. Like, yeah, just that's how you do a go home show angle. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. It was really good. Oh, I can't even. I feel like the way I've watched the show was maybe like I don't know, like blurred because of how excited I am, and maybe I've not like properly taken it in. But I, this made me so much more excited than I already am.
So speaking of hot characters, hot angles, next up we jump into Hangman. He's backstage. Renee's with him and makes reference to an altercation that had happened earlier at Tony Khan's office, and now that he's in the Casino Gauntlet, so you can imagine how that went down. Evil Uno came out, obviously. Dark Order, Hangman, a lot of history there. He says that he's basically before this, Hangman's like, whoever's in the Casino Gauntlet, they better watch out. I'm going to run through him. And then Evil Uno's like, I'm in it. And then he just got hit with a chair. Yeah, just great
Cool lad.
comedy. Uh, and just, yeah, just if you couldn't tell enough how the Casino Gauntlet Battle Royale is going to go, that was a great little prelude to it for sure.
You know what? I'm way more excited for this than it has any right to be excited for. You know what I mean? I think they've actually done quite a good job of building this up. So yeah, but it'll be good. And this, yeah, like you say, this was funny. It was funny. So is Evil Uno still going to be in it? Do you think, or is he like, I'm too injured, I can't take part anymore?
Hopefully, I'm too injured I can't take part anymore because there's many other people that I'd rather see.
Have they said, yeah, how many people are going to be in it or not?
No, because I guess like it can
Didn't
run
think
out,
so.
can't it? But they could just bullshit and be like, oh, 50 people are meant to be in the match and 8 come
50
out.
people. Yeah. We'll just be
That's
there all
what-
night. All in's just one
Well, no,
gauntlet match.
they have a time limit, don't they? So like,
Yeah.
if they can't run, they could just. That's what I mean. They could just pull a number out their ass. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see.
Um,
All part of the
yeah.
anticipation.
Sorry, it just keeps hitting me. Like I'm so excited for this
Yeah.
Sunday. Like we're
Same.
talking about it, like and podcasting, and like it's not real.
We're
It's like
talking about it so
Christmas.
rationally, like, yeah, this segment was pretty good, and then it's like, holy shit. Wait, we're gonna
Yeah.
actually like be there and it's gonna actually happen in front of us, like damn,
Yeah.
not ready.
Next up, this is it was just going from strength to strength after that first week hour. Claudio versus Okada for the Continental title. This absolutely fucking banged. It delivered on all fronts, and I don't know about you, but well, I know you would. But I loved seeing just how confident Claudio was, like right from the gate.
Yeah,
Not that he wrestles unconfidently, but he just like
had
came
aura.
out. Oh, he had such aura. Uh, for sure, it was just hot from the start, and like it wasn't your typical like Okada match, like where that typical New Japan style of we're gonna do technical wrestling, then we're gonna build to hot. It was just like straight off the bat hot, and it was like Claudio made it that way. He pushed him because he was like, no, we're not gonna fuck about. Like we're just gonna get on with it.
Yeah, he wanted the
It's
Rainmaker.
amazing. He did. It was described as like a slugging contest. JR was there, would have called it a slobber knocker. It was like this battle of strength, these big moves. Obviously a standout being that 20 revolution giant swing to Okada, which Okada is fucking massive.
Yeah.
Like I was so impressed by that.
Yeah, they're both 6'5", I think. So it's like, whoa. The way he does that, like the amount of times I've seen him do that, and it always amazes me like how easy he makes it look. Like it just makes it look like they weigh like a bag of feathers, but obviously they fucking don't. He's incredibly strong. And
Yeah,
I also love it when he does that because it gets a big pop every time.
yeah.
Every time, and it's like, yeah, he's what he deserves.
It's great and it's so unique to him. And like I said, to see it at Okada 6'5", like that that was really something. But like I said, the whole match itself just hard hitting, forcing Okada to sort of go to that place. Okada didn't have much time to showboat. Um, he just had to meet Claudio where he was at, and we always say this of like, well, we knew he wasn't gonna win, but it felt like it. But it's such a recycled line, but it's true. Like it's genuinely true. Like it deserved to be at Wembley, which is why I love the finish. I love the finish because surely from that finish we're getting it at Wembley
Right,
or all
I thought
out.
I was tripping balls when I heard um commentary say something that about Claudio going to Mexico this weekend.
Is he?
I'm sure they said he's heading to Mexico on Friday. And one of the commentators was like, "Is he?" And they were like, "Yeah." I was like, "No, no, surely not."
Well, damn. I'm not sure, but I was just really glad that like this had a 1 minute time remaining. Um, Claudio hit the uppercut, but Okada crawled out of the ring and he couldn't tear him off the rope in time. Then when he made the pin, it was only a 2 count, but it was very evident that he was like one big move away. But the time limit
Yeah,
had been hit, 20 minutes. The Young Bucks came out with Jack Perry, who, speaking of Jack Perry, just really quickly running back to Collision, he had the new custom title. He destroyed the old one and he actually crafted it himself,
yeah. I saw
which is
that video on
really
his
fucking
Instagram.
sick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
didn't
for
realize you were
sure.
crafty
So
like
cool.
that.
Sorry, I wasn't familiar with your game. But I fucking love a custom belt. It looks sick. It looks way better. Scapegoat belt makes perfect sense to his character. Like I say, loving the American title. Um, yeah, great touch for sure. But the Bucks come out and as they're the EVPs, they say if people want 5 more minutes, of course the crowd is chanting yes. They're like no, and they kind of disrespectfully asked Claudio to leave, and then we moved on to the next segment. So yeah, like obviously I was like, there's going to be like a rematch, and I was really hoping that it would kind of be announced frantically, maybe after Collision or just like last minute, like oh they're going to do it at Wembley. Of course, it could always be all out. But selfishly, I would love it to be Sunday. But if you're telling me that he's off to fucking Mexico,
I could
then
be. I might be lying. I might have misheard, and I can't. I'm just trying to frantically Google and see if I can find anything, and nothing else is saying anything about this. So do not take my word as gospel. But at the moment, it's not. Neither of them are announced for the card, which is gutting.
Okada as well. Like I just feel like he has to have a one-on-one match. I just feel like that's just such like a waste.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure. I,
Signing him for all that money and then you're not even going to put him on like your biggest show of the year. Like
I
what?
bet they'll probably run it back at All In. I mean, All Out. Sorry, All Out.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is okay. I mean, selfish reasons, obviously, I'd rather they did it at All In, but I'm trying not to be negative because, I got to see him last year, so.
Got to see him get pinned by Orange Cassidy last
Oh,
year.
okay. We didn't need like reminding of the specifics.
But I think it's by a roll up from an orange punch as well. Brilliant. Yeah, so this instantly transitioned into the next match. So obviously Young Bucks are part of the next match. Darby enters with STR and it just instantly broke down. Um I really liked this because it was like frantic. It was you could tell the rivalries and the tensions, and it wasn't like the six man of orderly of one person gets in, one person gets in, they have a stare down, they have a complete match by themselves, and then they tag out. It was just like madness, like just going through whoever you could. You didn't give a fuck. You just hate the other opposing team, and it was just absolute chaos. FTR and Bucks, like it was great to see them guys wrestle again. They've got such great chemistry and they always deliver. FTR and Bucks also, I think they feed so much off the crowd, and the crowd was just obviously mental, so they were going mental, so the crowd was going more mental, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. There's nothing really more you can say about it other than it was fun. It was entertaining, and it was just like that sort of chaotic match that I think this card needed, like had that high energy to bring that crowd up again. Because there was a lot of good wrestling on this show, just like between the last two matches that we've talked about, which I think was good because a lot of the rest of it was mainly promos, as you would expect for a go home show. So this fit slot in really well on the card.
Yeah, and Dav picked up the win with a coffin drop, so also it's nice neither of the tags got the pin because obviously they are in a freeway. Now those against the Acclaimed who then came out, cut a promo, said we could come down and beat you, but we won't. So
Bye.
yeah, it's like you say, like why would they not want to just kill each other? I guess like it's not necessarily like a blood rivalry, is it? Well, I don't know that. I guess the Acclaimed and Bucks it kind of has been, but I just don't like that line of like, especially when it's a face of like, I could, but I'm not gonna. I think for like a heel it's different, but like when you're the
Yeah.
face and like the whole Mariah May thing when she just like could have absolutely butchered her and didn't. It's just I don't know. It's
Why?
just like
What
okay,
was the reason?
what was the reason? Um. And then we went backstage, Will getting checked out, obviously bust open, and Daniel says, do it, in reference to the Tiger Driver. So Danielson is amped up, he's heading to the ring for the next segment. But yeah, really, really nice sort of crossover there for.
Yeah, and that was interesting as well, considering Brian's history of obviously neck problems, which has been very well documented. Him telling Ospreay to do it. I mean, yeah, that speaks volumes, doesn't it, about his mindset. Like having watched that segment, you would, assume like in kayfabe he's watched that segment and been like, you don't have to put up with that shit. I don't like MJF either. You got to do it. You got to end it. So yeah, very
Yeah.
nice.
As soon as we went to the next segment, Nigel McGuinness,
Oh, love to see him on
host,
Dynamite.
love to see him. What a better person, in any Danielson segment, get Nigel out there. Riddle Brian, he called him, and he just hyped Swerve up, being like, "You're in the best shape of your career. You're gonna absolutely fucking smash it." Swerve just cut his typical great promo of like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna absolutely annihilate him." And even if he does leave after this match, and one day he gets a dream that he wants to come back, I'm just gonna fucking destroy him again.
Love that.
And I believe it was like at that point, and he kind of made reference to Brie Bella and his kid, and like you said, the reference Brie Bella being in the crowd as his wife, you've got to assume like she's gonna be there for sure. You would imagine.
I'm looking forward to that cameo. I'm going to be disappointed if we don't get it.
Yeah. Danielson just comes in, psycho knee, and just cuts a promo, and he was absolutely fired up. He said, "I'm the best fucking wrestler in the world."
Oh, I
It's
had
like,
chills.
when Danielson swears, like when Danielson gets hyped up, like
It
it just
means
hits
something.
different. It
Yeah.
really does. It really means something. Um, he said he's gonna leave his soul in the ring. And can the American fucking Dragon beat Swerve? I just held the mic up and there was yes chance. And that was the closing thing. And I mean, what a journey we've been on with Danielson that fucking kudos to Jeff Jarrett and that character arc from like where he was before to like how hyped up he is not the week before, like a couple of days before the match itself, and how like now he's even going to Ospreay and being like, do it, and he's like, I'm the fucking best. And you know what, I'm totally been worked because before this I'm like, Swerve's winning, mate. Swerve's winning, like cry about it, but now I'm like, Danielson's winning, guys. Put the bet on. Like the
Oh,
Danielson's picking up the
no.
win. Like, 100%. Like it just completely like convinced me the other way. And now
Damn.
I'm just completely torn. But yeah, so exciting.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you hit the nail on the head. It made me emotional, like Brian speaking like that, and to think, I don't even know. I don't want to think that it could potentially be his last match, but I just I felt things, like wrestling makes you feel things. It's like, oh my God.
Think less, feel more.
Yeah, yeah. It was such a great segment, and it's just like you could just feel it comes from his heart. And I don't know if you've seen like the interview, some of the press he's done this week with the BBC and stuff,
Yeah.
and he said, and one of the interviews was like, what, well, like if you come to terms with the fact that your career might end, and he's like, yeah, I'm at peace with it. I don't mind. Look what I've done. Like I got kids. Words to that effect. Obviously not quoting verbatim there, but I was like, shit. This has just got real.
And how
And
many
then
wrestlers are like that though? How many wrestlers can humbly bow out of the spotlight, know when it's their time to stop? How many wrestlers can do that? Not many and have that self-control and
I think
yeah.
what he said as well was like the first time I was forced to retire, I wasn't ready and it wasn't on my terms. But now he's like, I'm ready, and obviously it's not to say he's definitely going to lose, but this time it's on his terms, and he's been there. He's been on the edge and thought, this is it. This is the end of my career, and he's come back. If he can go out
I
with
think
grace, it'd be sad, but it'd be what more fitting end to his career.
I mean, should we just jump into predictions right now and just do the prediction for this match? Because it
Yeah,
makes
might
the
as
most
well. I mean,
sense, doesn't it?
we're there, aren't we?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for me, yeah, either way, we're going to need to bring tissues, whether it's him having his hand held high, whether it's him losing and
Yeah.
like, he has that standing ovation at the end. But
Mm,
like I say,
Not,
I am just
not ready.
completely torn now because my head still says Swerve's winning. The whole thing of Swerve's title reign is every title defense, people think, oh, well, he's going to lose now. Like, of course he's going to lose because he's just a placeholder. And then every time, like, they just keep going with him. And I think it's the Casino Gauntlet is so interesting as well, without going to who's going to win that, because, like, if Hangman wins, surely Swerve's going to retain. But then if Hangman loses, surely Swerve's going to lose the title.
Yeah. Yeah. See, for this reason, I mean, not just for this reason, but I think a part of this is going to be, I think Swerve's going to win, and I do think that Hangman's going to win. And I know it's simple and predictable. That's the only reason I think they might not do that, because I think they might foresee that people foresee that coming and be like, now we're going to
Yeah.
Swerve, pun not intended, the other way. But that I do see that coming, and I wouldn't be mad about it because that'd be great. But based on the way that Danielson is approaching this, I'm convinced he's going to lose and he's retiring. I'm convinced.
I mean, but I don't know. Like, I've just been kind of convinced the other way. I'm like, are we getting that feel good moment, and are we going to get a wild card win in the gauntlet?
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
why I have it in my head. John Moxley is currently out at the minute with time off. And then
DC.
obviously Danielson, if you haven't heard, he has to have further neck surgery at the end of this year. So either way, like he's gonna have to wrap things up within a short few months. But if you do give the last title reign to Danielson, like his last big title reign, it would only last a few months anyway. You would think so, because you don't want to build your main event on someone who isn't going to be around for much longer. But like I don't know. I feel like do you like, does he go out with John Moxley? Like, is that like his
Mm,
finishing point? Or is it like someone else, like a total wild card that we're not even thinking of right now? I mean, Kenny ain't returning, but do you know what I mean? Like later on the line, if Kenny gets better, do that? Like, I don't know. But this is the prediction, so we've got to lock in. So are you still going with Swerve?
Yes. The more you speak, the more I'm just leaning the other way. But I'm an indecisive queen, and we both are. But this is the side of the fence I've landed on, like for the past week, having watched last week's
Yeah.
episode, heard everything that's going on, so I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking with it. I think Swerve is winning.
Yeah, I mean, my head still says Swerve, but I think because of the predictability, I just I don't know though. Do you know what's always gotten me is like I, I'm gonna go with Danielson.
Yeah.
I'm gonna feel more and think less.
Yeah.
And I just feel like something's coming and like we don't even know. But and I just think what like an emotional moment for him to win the big one. And I feel like they're gonna want to
Yeah.
end it on like an emotional high and like the streamers and the fireworks and
Yeah.
things at the end. Like I'm going with Danielson, I'm locking that one in. So
That's that's the one thing that's making me want to change my mind is just like I can picture that moment, and like I don't feel like they'd want to not have that moment, but I've locked in now.
locked in.
Locked.
So we'll see. But yeah. We're gonna go back now though. We have just done the fucking biggest thing on the card, but I'd rather start with 0 Hour and move down
Yes, that
on the
makes
title.
sense.
So 0 Hour right now, there's only one match, I believe, currently. So we've got our favourite match, Willow Nightingale, Tomohiro Ishii versus Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway.
I've just found this out. I don't know if you knew this, but apparently the winning team is going to be able to choose the stipulation of the match between Willow and Chris at All Out.
Right, so
So we are getting that one-on-one match, but we aren't getting it. Okay.
yeah, and I mean, obviously we are talking about predictions, but like people are like, yeah, but we're still getting the one-on-one. But I'm like, even if the end result means I get the one-on-one, I'm still not happy that it's gone to 0 hour. Like I'm
Yeah,
still
exactly.
not happy that it's I get it, like, oh yeah, they're still gonna run it through. We're still gonna get Willow and Chris Statlander. They're running the storyline for longer. And I can appreciate that. But if it's on the pre-show, I don't know, guys. Like for me, like it's not it does devalue the feud.
Yeah, I agree.
But
It dilutes it, but that's besides the
yeah,
point. Who do we think is going to win?
I think Willow and Tomohiro Ishii, I think they're gonna get one up on Stokely and Chris. I think Willow should be, if it's stipulation wise, Willow should be the one to pick the stipulation because she wants her revenge on
Yeah.
Statlander. So it would make more sense for her to win, and also then maybe you can build some tensions between Stokely and Chris. And I don't know, it just seems more plausible for me.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that like Stokely will probably be a part of that. He'll probably be like scared and doing a bit of a comedy bit with it. So yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, so then we're going to move into the main card now. Um, we've got the gauntlet match. So currently announced, we've obviously got the conglomeration: Orange Cassidy, Matt Briscoe, Kyle O'Reilly, and Hangman Page. I hope we get to see Takeshita in this as well. It would be really lovely to see Takeshita. But yeah, I feel like there's definitely going to be, like I say, like some wild cards being thrown out in this match. But yeah, so this is for a world title shot.
What about Okada?
So okay, yeah, I mean Okada, if he's not gonna have a match, you would assume that they might throw him um in the gauntlet. But yeah, I mean for me, like I don't know, like something in me just says like Hangman's just too on the nose. Like Hangman
Yeah.
rampages through everyone and then Swerve has to win. Not that you can't do Danielson Hangman, but I honestly don't know. I just honestly think like someone's just gonna come back. Like I'm predicting John Moxley. I'm fully committed to my fantasy booking.
Nice.
Like I just I have to because I fucking predicted Danielson to win, so I can't exactly predict Hangman to win this, can I? Um, or
Yeah,
someone else that hasn't been announced yet.
yeah, and obviously you can't
Maybe
exactly predict who
Ricochet. I
that's
don't
going to
know.
be if you don't know. But I I think that's a good shout, and I think your point is fair. But like, if Hangman wins, it's a bit on the nose, and it's a bit like, well, seems like Swerve's going to win now. But I think all all the momentum they've put behind Hangman, I can't see him not winning. But at the same,
Yeah,
actually thinking a little bit more about it, imagine how fired up and aggressive he's
yeah,
going to
and that
be
could
if
cost
he
him.
loses.
But then you've predicted Swerve to win, so I feel like you have to predict Hangman to win
Oh
because
yeah,
otherwise it's not going to make
that's
sense in your predictions.
that's where I was heading with this. I'm gonna predict Hangman.
Yeah, and you know what? You're probably right. Next up, we've got the AEW World Trios Championship. This is a ladders match. That's awesome. Can't wait. We've got the Patriarchy versus the House of Black versus the Bang Bang Gang. Um, and who was the other team in
There's a
this?
mystery team, and it was decided on Collision who it's going to be. And I have come across the spoilers for that. So do
No,
you?
let's do it. Let's just do it. Yeah.
Well, if you're watching and you don't want to know, then you just mute. You just skip ahead like a minute or whatever. I'm very excited about this. It's going to be Pac, Claudio, and Wheeler.
Okay. So obviously we're not getting Claudio versus Okada.
Yeah, and
That's a
obviously
very
he's not going to Mexico. I just made that up. Don't know where I got that from. Maybe he's going next week or something. I don't know. Um,
brilliant.
but yeah. So Claudio wrestled twice last night. Big up my boy. But yeah, I mean that's a random. That's a bit of a random.
Pac.
Yeah,
Pac. Like, why is Pac there?
because he's British.
Yeah, sure. That'll be a lot of fun. I think the patriarchy are going to return.
Yeah, I think you're right. As much as that, obviously, I want the Blackpool Combat Club plus Pac to win. He can be an honorary member. I think you're right. I don't really see any of the others. I don't envision them with those championships, to be honest. I don't see
Yeah,
heading in that direction.
they haven't really been built up
Yeah,
to take
exactly.
it. You know, it's just a fun match with ladders that will be violent that is going to get everyone on the card. I'd be very shocked if they didn't retain. But I think what's going to thread throughout it is the Bang Bang Gang, um, and the tensions between them and the patriarchy because they've been teasing Christian Cage versus Jay White for a very long time. So I think they're
Yeah.
just going to keep sowing the seeds of that till Jay White returns, and they can run that through.
Yeah. Yeah. And that'd be great. That'd be I'm down. I'm down.
Yeah, so then we've got the last chance match. Why is it called the last chance match?
What, Chris Jericho versus Hook?
Yeah.
Because if Hook loses, he can't challenge for the championship again while Jericho's champion.
So I've just completely missed that huge stipulation. My apologies. Shows how much I give a fuck about this. Um, for my sanity's sake, Hook's going to win.
Let's manifest it, guys. I think
Like,
he's gonna win though. Sure.
surely, surely. Um, yeah. Coffin match next up. We've got this for the AEW TNT Championship. We've got Jack Perry versus Darby Allin. And before we get into this, I wanted to bring this up when we were talking about Swerve versus Danielson, but I actually forgot. I don't know if you heard, but recently it's been disclosed that there are reports that irregardless of who wins in the world title picture, and obviously Darby Allin is in this match with Jack Perry. He's not in the Casino Gauntlet match, but there is strong plans in place that Darby Allin will hold the world title very soon, and that they're very hot on giving him a run, which is really interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. It doesn't nothing on this card like really points towards that. But and obviously, like Tony's always been really pretty high on him. Everyone in the company seems to love him. It's not that shocking to me, but like soon, I'm like, whoa, okay,
Yeah.
let's not rush
Like,
things.
regardless of who's winning, like, those are plans that they really want to put in motion. And it's weird because when he last, if we take it back a year ago and Sting, and then obviously Revolution, Sting's retirement match, and then they abstained the belts. And from that point on, you would have thought that'd be the perfect opportunity to launch him into the world title picture. He's like, oh, like I've been under the mentorship of Sting and now I'm gonna
Yeah.
hold the world title. But then obviously he wanted to climb Everest. Then he injured his foot. Then he got hit by a bus. So that didn't quite happen.
I'm sorry for laughing. It's not funny, but just the way he said that, it's just like couldn't happen to anyone else, could it? Like just Darby Allin.
But it just sounds normal when I'm talking about him. But
It's just normal in his life, yeah.
when I heard the news, I was like, good for him though, because
Mm.
I think he really does deserve a world title shot on a world title reign. He's been like a pillar for so long. Probably in popularity, he's probably the second most popular pillar. As we all know, the pillars are MJF, Darby Allin, Jack Perry, and Britt Baker. So but I just, taking like my personal feelings aside, I think why would he not be why has he not held the world title yet? Like his look, the merch he can move, the popularity he has for kids, the babyface potential that he has. I have a love-hate relationship with the guy, and I think, if he does end up holding the world title, we definitely need to tone things down a bit, because you can't be holding the world title and just being in risky matches, risky spots. Like, you are the brand, you are the face of the company. Like, you have to take that seriously. But over the years, like the amount of media that man has done, and the fact, and one thing I always give credit to Darby Allin, he's never played the game. He fucking should do. If he was intelligent, he would play the game and he'd make as much money as he possibly could. But anytime he's asked, I'm never leaving AEW. I love AEW. Like, he is the biggest AEW shill you will ever meet. But I think, yeah, he absolutely deserves it. And I think the one thing about Darby is, one thing that he's a bit weak on is the promo. But I think if you got him and you gave us that MJF, I don't know, that MJF, they have a long history together, or you put him in with someone like that, I think you'd really get that. And I think it is with Darby Allin now or never. Because, yeah, it does seem soon, but he's been there for so long that I think if they don't try to elevate him soon, he will always be a mid-carder.
Yeah, and that's what you don't want him to get stagnant there. You make a really good point. Maybe that's why, though, that he's not been world champion yet, is because he doesn't want to stop doing the high risk stuff. Like, that could literally be the reason. Like, he's like, nah, I don't want to wrestle that style of the champion being safe and stuff. He just wants to be himself, and he's not willing to sacrifice that. Maybe that is the reason. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too much into that, but it's hard to picture him like toning it back.
Yeah, for sure. So definitely something to keep like your eye on, what
That's
he's going to do
interesting.
after this. But yeah, the TNT title, Jack Perry's winning because I want him to win.
There's no other reason
Simple
needed.
as that. No,
Well,
like,
if they want to make Darby world champion, then he's probably not gonna pick up this one. And everything, all they want everything behind Jack Perry at the moment, and they want to try and keep that train going. So yeah, makes complete sense for Jack Perry to win, I think.
yeah. Yeah, for sure. So it's pretty simple there. Jack Perry. I'm looking coffin match as well. Like, how satisfying. I know I've just like absolutely bigged Darby Allin up, but oh my God, do you know how satisfying it's going to be for me to watch Jack Perry put Darby Allin in a coffin and shuttle it? Do you know how like how much I will love that? Like, so much. So very excited.
Do it for a sell, guys.
Next up, we've got the TBS Championship, Mercedes Moné versus Britt Baker. Britt Baker.
No hesitation there.
It's not even that I want her to win. I just feel like we're talking about statements. I feel like that's the right statement to make personally, and I think it's gonna say a lot if they keep it on Mercedes. And I know it's like, oh well, they could run it back at All Out, or like it doesn't count, but I think it really does it all in at Wembley. I think it really
Yeah, it does.
does, and I think it's the right move. Like I said, it's probably gonna be a hater interference. How can hater return and interfere, and then like it doesn't come to anything? And yeah, I don't know. I just feel like that's just kind of where I'm at with it, really.
I think this is probably the one I'm the most on the fence about. I just can't, I just can't decide because I can see both angles and like what we were talking about before, like it's gonna set a precedent for whether we're going with the new, fresh signing or we're going with the pillar. And I just don't know because I can just see Tony being like, "No, we need to keep it on Mercedes. She's hot stuff." Oh, I don't know. I might just say Mercedes just to be different to you.
Yeah, I can totally, you can just pitch something in your head like Mercedes winning and me being very upset about it. Like I can already feel the pit in my stomach. Like I can already feel it, and like a Camille interference or
Yeah,
whatever. I can see that as well, but I think when it's 50-50, you just gotta go with your gut, and that's where my gut is taking me. And lastly, we've got the American Championship, formerly known as the International title. MJF versus Will Ospreay. Ospreay's surely got a win because he's going to use the 91 Tiger Driver.
agreed. Agreed. And Will Ospreay winning at Wembley, what writes itself, doesn't it?
Yeah, and the
So,
resentment as well that's going to grow from that, and the way that will further the wound, the jealousy wound
yeah,
of Max, the vendetta that will then create. Um, yeah, for sure.
I think that'll be a
Yeah,
missed op of like a really bad missed opportunity if he doesn't win. Because like they've already had that match and he didn't win, so it's not as if they're going to be equal then, in a sense.
yeah.
Um, have we talked about the tag team championship match?
No, we haven't.
I
No,
was
we
like, have
haven't.
I just blocked that out of my mind? So yeah,
Sorry,
we've
I'm
got.
just reading off a bit of paper. So,
Oh
yeah,
no, no, it's all good. We've got Young Bucks versus FTR versus the Acclaimed. Three-way tag team match for the championships.
they claimed, sadly.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, really.
I think I think you're actually I know my reaction maybe doesn't say that, but I think you're actually probably right because
And Max Caster's going to rap about it at the after party.
yes, can't wait.
And we're
Can't
going
wait
to
for
want to
that
die.
one. He's gonna bring them belts out. Um yeah, I agree. It's something fresh. It's new, like, yeah, I think it's the most I think it's the outcome they're gonna go with 'cause it's gonna be the most sort of exciting. So agreed.
Yeah, like Bucks, FTR, like they've had, and also like they've not really been built up. Like FTR have just kind of just wandered into this last minute. The Bucks aren't really like as much as I don't really like the Acclaimed are on TV every week, so at least like then we'll have
True.
a better opportunity to see the titles maybe defended more. And but
I
it's still like sticking a plaster over like that meme where that guy's with the massive water thing and he sticks a plaster over it
yeah.
on the water container, if you know what I mean. That's what I'm picturing. Like it's still, because then going from there, who's gonna take on the Acclaimed? Like a lot of these title matches, when push comes to shove, even when it's a conclusive victory, you kind of know who's going to be set up to be the next competitor. But
Mm.
like with this, it's just like the Acclaimed win. And then like, yeah, I guess they're going to be on TV more, but maybe that's what you do with the luchas, though. Maybe you need to just start pairing the luchas up more and kind of make the tag division a lucha special, and that's
Mm.
how kind of you package them and make them more a part of the show. And I'm just throwing shit at a wall, but the Acclaimed are winning.
Yeah, agreed. So yeah, that's all our predictions, and that's pretty much everything for this
Oh,
week.
wait, we
Oh,
didn't rate the show
oh yeah, we didn't. Oh, we got
because we just went straight into
yeah,
the predictions.
got too excited, went straight into predictions. So
8.5 is my personal rating.
yeah, I can live with that. That makes sense. I hadn't really even thought about it, but yeah, agreed. It was solid. Like you said, the first half was a bit slow. Second half picked up massively. I'm absolutely buzzing about this weekend, and it was a go home show, so that's its purpose. It lived up to that, so 8.5 seems reasonable to me.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean that's gonna do it for this week. So look out for we're gonna hopefully try and do a little bit of vlogging this weekend at London. We're heading off tomorrow. Remember and can get some good footage. We'll upload what we can. Um and then shortly after we're gonna do like a roundup review of the show of All In. So don't know what the timescale on that is gonna be yet, but we'll see. And yeah,
yeah.
if
The next time we be here, we will have been, which is mental to think about. The next time we record and sit down,
yeah,
we'll have seen it all. So
yeah.
that's weird to think about.
And it feels like we've been thinking about it like since we started this podcast. And also,
Mm.
shout out to Andy for pointing out that like last episode was our 25th episode. Like we didn't even realize
Yeah,
that's crazy.
didn't realize there were milestones.
That's gone by really fast. And like for most of those 25 episodes, we've been talking about All In, and it's happening. So that is crazy. But let us know what you think of our predictions. I want to know your predictions. If you disagree with us, if you agree with us, please let us know. If you're going this weekend, what you're getting up to. Are you going
Yeah,
to any other shows? I know there's absolutely loads of wrestling on this weekend in London.
50K is the ticket count as well. I just want to add that's how much
Okay.
the gate is right now, 50K. So not bad at all, really. I don't think
Oh,
50K will be a decent. And it'd be interesting to see the setup as well, because obviously Taylor Swift just finished, so they're going to use a bit of her staging, so it's going to be a little bit different to last year. Um, so yeah, really, really interested to see how it looks and comparing it to last year. But in a way, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to spin it like, oh, they sold less tickets, that's good. But I think this year it is just going to be dyed in the wool AEW fans, because I think last year there was like a lot more like casual and like just from our personal experience, people who just watch WWE and they're just there for like the hype. Whereas this year, like no one that we know is like that. Like only people who are going are people who fucking love AEW. So I think like while it's like a bit smaller, I think it's just like people who like, you know what I mean? I think it's still going to have an absolute buzz to it for sure.
I don't think it's going to feel smaller. In fact, it might even
No.
feel bigger. Just, like in terms of atmosphere, and we've been there before, we kind of know what to expect, and there's so much like going into it. I think, yeah, it's not going to feel smaller. I'm probably more excited this year than I was last year, just because of, how
Yeah, you
much,
know what to expect, and you
yeah,
know how good it is, and you know the atmosphere, and like for me, it's so weird because like a lot of my favorite wrestlers are actually wrestling this year, but I'm still just as excited, um, if not more, like you say, because you know what's coming, and as well, like compare it to last year. Like last year, poor Britt Baker was in that four-way where Saraya obviously was shoehorned in to win just for a cheap pop. But to compare it to this year with Mercedes Moné, a dream match, who was there in the stalls as a fan, just observing it.
that's
Wow.
storytelling.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm so excited, obviously, and yeah, I'm sure it's gonna be amazing. Like whatever happens, we're gonna have a brilliant time. So can't wait. So as always, thank you so much for watching slash listening, and please like, subscribe, follow, rate, leave a comment. Yeah, we'll see you after All In.
Yeah, see you next week. Bye.
I must bid you adieu, goodbye.
I wish you died in the womb!